we all do projections. You can go into Microsoft Excel and put together a spreadsheet with your projections on one column and your actual revenues on another, and have your previous revenues from the year before, and just have those three lines on there and see if you're meeting your goals or not meeting your goals.
No more burnout, no more fear. We'll build it strong, make it clear. Not just a grind, but a dream that's true. Building a business that works for you.
Welcome back to the Builder's Edge. Today I have the honor of sitting down with AC Lockyer, better known as the Soft Wash King. AC is a true pioneer, credited with founding the soft washing industry and transforming it into a safer, more innovative way to clean exteriors. So, AC, he started his company, Mallard Systems, back in 1991, scaling it to over 4.8 million in revenue before launching the soft wash systems in 2010. Today, that network spans more than 150 companies across 7 countries. Through his holding company, Droplet International, AC leads multiple brands, mentors entrepreneurs worldwide, and holds the prestigious Zig Ziglar Legacy certification.
Yes, I do. Yes.
Yeah, he's also the author of The 5 Keys to Pattern Success, a powerful framework for building repeatable, scalable success without losing that personal touch that keeps clients for life. In this book, AC distills decades of wins, setbacks, and lessons into a framework anyone can follow to achieve consistent, repeatable success. Today, we're going to unpack those 5 keys and show you how they apply to mastering the business side of building. Welcome to the show, AC.
Thank you so much. Good to be here.
Yes. So, AC, you've been called the Soft Wash King. I'm sorry to keep repeating it, but it's legit. You earned
Well,
it.
it's a small kingdom, but it's nice to be king. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about small kingdom, but you definitely are the king of it. For those who maybe don't know, can you tell the story of your journey and how that began?
Well, it's kind of crazy. I'm a third generation service business entrepreneur. It seems like every podcast they always ask this, so it's the same story over and over again. But it's a great story because people need to understand that regardless of your upbringing, regardless where you come from, you can do great things in life. You can have a meaningful life. You can impact lots of people. You can
That's
create
true.
lots of revenues and have a great lifestyle. But I am a child of privilege. I'm a third generation service business entrepreneur. I am privileged to be able to sweep my father's floors and wash my father's trucks and be harassed by him and micromanaged by him and pruned by him like every other entrepreneur's child. Nothing was ever good enough, which is great because it made me strive for greatness. Because of all of that, I ended up being my dad's greatest accomplishment and greatest product, which your children should be.
Yes.
And even though I wanted to be a lead singer in a heavy metal rock and roll band, which didn't quite work out, I did end up being an entrepreneur in the service business industry,
Uh-huh.
just like my father and just like his father before him, and ended up making a great impact and impacting people's lives, impacting the technology in the industry. But just being able to really transcend way beyond my own personal income and my personal lifestyle, impacting other people's lives. And that's really what it's all about.
That is truly what it is all about. That's where the happiness, the enjoyment comes from, is impacting somebody else's life when you've made a change and inspired them. So
Yep.
now you have a book about it. Your book titled The 5 Keys to Pattern Success. Show us one more time. Show me
Yes,
one
here
more
it
time.
is. Yeah. Always have to keep it by the computer for all these podcasts.
Good. Okay, tell us quickly the 5 keys and what inspired you to put these keys into writing after decades of business.
Well, my publisher is Michelle Prince with Performance Press, and she did a great job and helped me out with this book. A lot of people know her. I really, my wife was saying, you need to do a biography, an autobiography. We need to get your story out and get your accomplishments out, because they were starting to have people replicate the things that I was doing. And I try to figure out a more honoring way of saying, not copying me, but admiring what I was doing and replicating those things and pulling them into their businesses. And sometimes, claiming their own personal ownership of those ideas and concepts. And it really irked my wife and my family. And they're like, you need to do an autobiography. And so we're sitting in front of Michelle Prince and we're saying, well, we want to do an autobiography and tell my story and everything else. And God bless Michelle. She looked at me and she just smiled. She goes, AC, nobody cares about your background or your story or anything else like that. You're not that big a deal. I mean, yeah, you're the roof cleaning king, soft washing king. You've done a lot with that. You've really impacted the industry. And in that little small pond, you're a big fish. But you've got to bring some sort of content, some sort of practical value to people. And through that, maybe you can tell some of your story. So I have a folder on our servers on my Dropbox of all of the classes I've taught, all of the speeches I've done, all of, just years and years and years and years of stuff. And Michelle was looking through there and she goes, hey, what's this 5 keys to pattern success thing? This is really, really cool. Okay. I like that presentation. We could do a whole book on that. And I'm like, a whole book on that? She goes, yeah. This is great. And then she said, and you can take each one of those keys and tell a story of when you use that key in your life. And that'll be an opportunity to tell some of those stories that you want to get out to people, about the ownership of some of your ideas and concepts and things that you've done. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. And she said, so it'll all be through the lens of the 5 keys to pattern success. And so the book is that. It's my 5 keys to pattern success. I got to see which hand is the better hand to put up, but it's be deliberate. Okay, be deliberate. Okay, execute, analyze, replicate, systemize. And so I'm a big Howard Partridge fan too. That's how I kind of got into the old Ziegler organization. And Howard Partridge one day was doing a class on failure to implement. Now, most people have ideas, but they don't implement ideas. And I went, be deliberate, execute. I went, oh man, the reason why the gap is so big between your thumb and your index finger and not so small between these other fingers is the hardest thing to do in life is to implement your ideas.
Absolutely.
And so, I went ahead and pulled that into the book and said, okay, this is failure to implement in here. So I credit Howard Partridge with it. But I'll say something really, really cool about the book. And yes. So just a couple of weeks ago, we all know that, and I don't know if you're a fan or not, but Ozzy Osbourne died.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm old rock and roller, used to have long hair, singer in a heavy metal rock and roll band. And also, of course, Ozzy Osbourne's a big, influence in my life. And so this book starts out with a quote from Ozzy Osbourne. So it's really cool. I mean, the very first thing I go through in this book is a quote by Ozzy Osbourne. And the quote from Ozzy Osbourne is, there's only 88 keys on a piano. Somebody's bound to write a song that sounds like your song. And so, even though I go through here and I try to protect some of my intellectual property through getting the concepts out that are in this book, I do say right away in the book that things that, of course, I believe are original to me that are in this book, there are only 88 keys on a piano, and somebody is bound to write a song that sounds like yours. And so even though, these are my concepts and my thoughts and everything, they're not 100% completely unique because there's only 88 keys on a piano. And so I take this framework, these 5 keys, and I've been to identify over the years that the reason why I've done well in life is because I boiled it down to 5 simple steps that I always use.
Yes. Yes, and those 5 simple steps are, what you cover in there, and that's what we're going to unpack too. But yes. I have to tell you, chapter 5, your $1 million map chapter, it stopped me in my tracks.
Really?
Yeah, I literally paused the book. Now, I do Audible. I apologize.
Oh, no, that's great. And I read my own book because of people like you. I wanted people to hear it in my own words.
I love it. So I literally paused it, went straight to the store, bought everything that I didn't have, and built my own $1 million. It's not a map, it's a wall. It's
It is. It's a
16
stalker
feet
wall.
long. It's
Yes.
a
Yeah.
16 feet long, five and
Yeah.
a half tall. It's straight out from me now. I'm looking at it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's now mapped with my business plan, my goals, my
Hmm.
milestones. And
Hmm.
so, for everyone listening who's never heard the $1 million map, can you explain what that is and why it's such a game changer for kind of turning your vision into reality?
Right. So I just run into a lot of businesses that people start businesses, they get them going, and they struggle with breaking $1 million. And they struggle with breaking $1 million because they think they need to just put more effort behind the things that they're doing and do more to accomplish $1 million. And even though $1 million today is not anywhere near what $1 million was 30 years ago, or
Sure.
20 years ago, or even 10 years ago,
Yeah,
or really even 5 years ago, when you really think about it.
I know, right?
And my $4.8 million a year business now with inflation is over $8 million. So it's double. So when you look at that, when you think about that, people think I just need to do more. I need to work harder. I need to
Right,
push more, and that's not the way that you accomplish these things. And you've really got to be very deliberate. Remember, be deliberate. Okay, you got to be
yes.
very, very deliberate when you sit down and you put together a business plan. And not everybody likes, a written business plan. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's
Boring.
just gross and it's just hard to read. And a lot of us aren't wired up that way. And a lot of us like, when you look at the different ways, the four different ways that people learn, you got visual learners, you got audible learners, you got tactile learners, you got people that learn by hearing, and the different ways people
Right.
learn. I tried to put something together in this $1 million map to where I could, when I was working back in the day when I did coaching and consulting, which I don't even have time to do that anymore. It's sad because I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I tried to figure out a way that I could go into somebody's living room or go into a garage and take a wall in their home and put some push pins up and butcher paper and everything else, and yarn and paper plates and index cards and everything, and create an exercise where people were like, oh my goodness, I just didn't realize these are the steps I need to take. There's a reason why July through, 4th of July through the first week in September is always slow. It's because that's, Independence Day through Labor Day and vacations and everything else. I never realized why things slowed down in June, because it's graduations and anniversaries and first vacations. And I
Yeah.
didn't understand that certain months only have, 18 days of production, and some months have 22 days of production, and some months only have 16 days of production. And, why my revenues went up certain times of the year and down certain times of the year, no matter how hard I worked. And when I should apply energy, start applying the energy, is when I'm getting ready to go into one of these upswings in the market. And now I can visibly see it on the wall. So I can start arranging my paper plates and my index cards and my pieces of yarn and everything else to move towards when I know my revenues are going to come up, because my production days are going to come up, because the holidays have kind of cleared out. There's no distractions and everything. And people all of a sudden, they just go with their heads and they go, there's actually a rhythm to all of this. And I go,
There's a
yes,
pattern to it. Yes.
I couldn't see it. I know you couldn't see it. That's why we put butcher paper on the wall and got out different colored markers and used yarn and paper tapes, plates and index cards and everything else, is because you're not going to be able to understand or conceive it just hearing it or even reading it on a page.
You can't.
So many of us out there that have to physically touch it and do it to realize it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just the calendar aspect just
Mm-hmm.
to start out with. So I went and got one of those desktop calendars, the big, huge calendars, and that's the
Yeah.
whole center row instead of
Yeah.
the
You just take out all
bookends.
the pages and just go do 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 do
Yeah,
do
I
all the
took
way
out all
through.
the
Yeah.
pages, lined them all up. And so I marked off, like you said, to mark off, I'm giving away the book, but how you said to mark off the holidays and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize that, this is I'm just going into September, but I need to get my button gear because most people are going to be off most of November and most of
Right.
December, and then they're
Yeah.
going to be worn out in January. So and
And
I
all the credit cards are tapped and everything else, and they're paying off debt. And yeah, yeah.
everything.
And people didn't go, I don't understand why I'm slow right now. You're going to be slow. And no amount of advertising is going to pull you out of it because it's just not harvest season. So you identify clearly what the harvest seasons are. And then when you go into being deliberate, that is a perfect example of being deliberate, is saying, okay, I'm going to own a business, but I need to understand the seasonality of my business, the cash flow of my business, how many production days I have, all of the things that make up, like in the service business industry, you only have 200 days a year to revenue. That's
Okay,
it.
that's it.
There's 365 days in a year. You only have 200 days to revenue.
You got to be
You can
busy
either
on those
take
days and
off
in intent.
or neutralize 165 days a year.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
and you can see that with this. And what I also liked is up in the revenue and your projection versus the actual, having that two lines once I, move on through this to kind of show, I thought one thing, but in reality, it's something else. Yeah.
Yeah, and having that projections, we all do projections. You can go into Microsoft Excel and put together a spreadsheet with your projections on one column and your actual revenues on another, and have your previous revenues from the year before, and just have those three lines on there and see if you're meeting your goals or not meeting your goals. And if one month you don't meet your projection, that means the next month, like let's say this month you don't meet your projection by $5,000 and your revenue projections are 40 grand a month. That means next month is not a 40 grand month. Next month has to be a $45,000 month. And then if you fall short by 2,000 that month, that means the next month became a $47,000 a month. And then when you get to the end of the year, you'll go, oh my gosh, I was 30% off of where I thought I was going to be. No, you need to be able to realize that on a daily basis to do course corrections in your business.
Yes, course corrections. Wonderful. So let's, before we go into course corrections, don't let me forget to touch back on that.
Yeah.
This second key that you're talking about between this gap we have.
Right. So
Um,
that's failure to implement. So the second key is execute. First key is be deliberate. So have the idea and then make the idea happen. In between it is failure to implement.
okay, how does that look like day-to-day operations of growing the business? On a day-to-day, how do I manage that implementation?
It could be really simple. You set a goal for the day. I'm going to go out and knock on 50 doors today, or I'm going to go out and visit 5 management companies, or I'm going to go out and you're in the construction industry. I need to find some new subcontractors. I'm going to, open up the internet and I'm going to go out. I'm going to search the internet. And I'm going to talk to 10 new trim carpenters today. Okay. And set up some lunch meetings with them and go and look at their facilities or go look at some of their prior work. Failure to implement can either happen is you don't prioritize your time well and you get so busy and that gets knocked off your schedule for the day.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Or you're really good at procrastinating because it's something you don't like to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't want to go and research these people and then call them on the phone and set up lunch appointments. I just wish good subcontractors would just fall into my lap. It's not going to happen. You have to be deliberate about that. And then you would be deliberate is putting together the plan. Okay. Executing is executing the plan. Failure to implement is when you let something get in the way of you executing the plan. And that is the number one reason why small businesses fail. It's not because they don't have passion or desire or great ideas. It's that they're not good at implementing their great ideas.
Yeah. And then, once take note on that, on why it didn't. Don't just up and, well, that didn't work. Well,
Right.
my day was all shot. Take note on exactly why, realize those patterns like you teach in your book and make change, right? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so the third key, how can contractors and tradespeople apply that even if they're still like a small business, small team?
Well, the third key is probably the absolute most important key, and that's analyze.
Yeah.
Most businesses fly by the seat of their pants. They never take time to stop and measure,
Yeah.
check their numbers, check their spreadsheets. They never take time to ask their customers when they come into their stores or call them on the phone, how did you hear about us?
Mm.
What advertising?
Yeah.
captured you and gave you the idea to visit my shop today.
Right.
They
Okay.
never stop and ask why. They never,
True.
for me, the most important part of my day, and this is going to make me sound very lazy, and I felt very guilty about this for a long time,
Okay.
because I'm a workaholic. I have to be
Yeah.
working all the time. I have to feel like I'm doing, 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 doing. But
Almost to a fault. I'm with you. Like I have to
it's to a
make
fault.
it's a fault too.
Yeah.
Okay, go
You
ahead.
have to slow down. You have to stop. You have to have a cup of coffee. You have to sit on your back porch. You have to stick a bird feeder, out on your back porch. You have to bring your laptop out there with your cup of coffee and wrap up on your blanket on those cold days and look through the data.
Yeah.
Look through the data. Turn off your phone. Tell your team you're not going to be until lunch and analyze the data.
Yeah.
You've got to stop to measure, analyze, you know, look at what you're doing and prune away the stuff that's not working and promote and do more of the stuff that is working. And if you never take time to do that, you're going to keep doing the same things over and over and over again, expecting a different result, which is the
Yeah.
definition of what?
Insanity.
Insanity. Yes. And there's a
Insanity.
lot of insane entrepreneurs out there that think they're going to do the same thing over and over and over again and get a different result.
Yeah. And we think that we're keeping in the back of our mind and tallying in the back of our mind, but no, it needs to be more intent. It needs to be more purposeful. It
Right.
needs to be documented because we get way too busy in the day-to-day action. We do need to pull ourselves completely away from it. I thought I was doing this more as well, and then my team and I sat down and we kind of analyzed this, and I was like, wait a minute. I got in front of a group of people the other day, and out of those group of people, I was able to book 4 one-to-ones with this group of people, and I
Right.
closed 50%. I was
Right.
like, oh my gosh, we need to do more of those. So, yeah, so now I can be more purposeful and more intent. I love it. So, yeah, you have to. I mean, that should have, I had that in the back of my head, but I really didn't do the numbers and I really hadn't, kind of attached it all and made it all connect. So, yeah,
Right. And when I talk about, the fact that you may feel like you're being lazy, or you may feel like, what are my team members going to think? Uh,
if you
you've
take the
really got to
morning off,
focus. Yeah,
sit
you got
on
to
the
focus
porch
on.
with the
Yeah, you got to focus on. You've got to go out, and I would say for the average entrepreneur, I'm going to give you three things you need to do.
Okay.
Every week, you need to go in a half a day late. So every week, take at least one morning off.
Okay.
Okay. Every week, take at least one afternoon off.
Okay.
And every month, take a 3 day weekend. If you want to see your company grow more than it's ever grown before, and this is against all business theology out
Makes
there,
me
but I'm
nervous just hearing it.
telling you, this is going to
Okay.
make your business grow like wildfire. Take a morning off every week,
Morning off
take
every
an
week.
afternoon off every week,
Okay.
and one weekend a month, take a 3 day weekend. And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
You are your company's most important asset. Okay. You are your biggest competitor. You are your biggest critic. Okay. You are the boogeyman that you worry about. Because most every problem that happens in your company is because of your self-limiting thoughts and your fears of moving forward with your business. So
Yeah.
if you focus on taking a morning off every week, an afternoon off every week, and a 3 day weekend, you'll figure out you will start to dream again. You will start to get passionate again. You will start to strategize again. Okay. You will
Yeah.
start to feel like you've got some margin in your life. So I'm talking to everybody on this call.
Yeah.
I need to write a book just about this. Okay.
Yeah,
I
you
try
do.
to read
And
one book a
it gets me
year.
excited.
Yeah. Take a morning off, take an afternoon off, take a 3 day weekend. That one concept right there will completely revolutionize you as an entrepreneur. And you will see you making more impactful and more positive moves in your company and you becoming way more strategic in your company if you just do that.
Wow. So I'm going to go and remark my calendar. I'm going to pick those days and
Yeah.
put that on my $1 million map. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, a friend of mine, she's been a business coach for Tony Robbins for many, many years.
Hmm.
She's working on, we've all taken in our, times these personality quizzes and, to
Yes.
kind of
Yeah.
learn. Yeah.
Disc assessments or enneagrams or,
Yeah.
all the different ones over the years. Yeah.
Right. So hers, she's named it a North Star. I'm a North Star.
Right.
And a lot of entrepreneurs are. We've got those big visions, we've got those
Hmm.
big ideas. And so when you said, you were talking about stirring that up in me, that's probably going to fuel my business if I keep pampering that and
Right.
helping that grow, that is probably going to make a astounding difference in my business. I'm excited. I'm going to put it on the calendar. Okay, so that fourth key, what's a common mistake you see people making and how can they correct the fourth key?
Well, replication. So the fourth key is replication. So you're be deliberate, execute, analyze, replicate now. So once you get done with your analyzation and you figured out the things that aren't working and the things that are working,
Okay,
do more of the stuff that's working.
okay.
Replicate it.
Okay.
It's
Now
so
that's not, you
simple.
think that sounds simple, but when you've done your business for so long and you're generational, like you and I talked about, they're
Yeah.
handing these trays down for generation. How do we break that? What's that, how do they fix that, correct that?
Well, sometimes we are, again, we're our biggest enemy ourselves.
Yeah.
And so I do this myself because you have to be careful as entrepreneurs. When you're big vision people, you start to go, well, I can do this and I can do this and we can do this. And, my printing company sucks. So I'm going to start a printing company. And, my novelties company sucks or my sign shop sucks. And before you know it, become a serial entrepreneur and you're buried in businesses and you're all stressed out. And, you're taking you and dividing it between 10 different businesses. And that means you're getting 10% here and 10% here and 10% here.
And they're all
And
suck.
you were the best finished carpenter in the world. You built the most beautiful staircases. People would pay you 100 grand to put a staircase in their house. And you could have $1 million company if you only did 10 staircases a year. But you decided you wanted to do cabinets and you opened up a cabinetry shop. And there's already 10 cabinetry shops in your city. And now you're wallowing in debt. You're stressed out. You're working hours a week because you decided to get into cabinetry because you thought you were better than everybody else. And the fact of the matter is you were the most incredible finished carpenter in the world, and people would pay you 100 grand to build staircases,
Yes.
beautiful spiral staircases with herringbone steps and beautiful cornices and everything else. And you were the master at it. And you didn't have to have a team of 50 people. You had
Yeah.
a right hand person and two apprentices. You built these staircases. You did 100 grand a year. You put 250 grand in your pocket. Every weekend was a 3-day weekend. You took a full month off a year, and you were happy. Do more of that.
Do more of that.
Do more
Yes.
of that.
Yeah, it is definitely really, when you put it that way, AC, it is a no-brainer. I get it. Um, but we don't really necessarily think of ourselves as taking one item and kind of, making it such a mastery, but in fact, they can. Okay,
Well,
the
and
fifth.
it's even with advertising. And the biggest thing I see, the three biggest bleeds in a small business.
Okay.
Okay. Number one is overages on payroll, overtime, all that kind of stuff. Because when
Huh?
you go into overtime, your liability insurance comes time and a half, your payroll processing fees are time and a half, your workers' comp's time and a half. Number two is
Everything follows, right?
overspending on advertising. Okay. And the third biggest bleed in that company is the lack of delayed gratification by the ownership group. Okay. But let's focus on advertising. We go out, we spend so much money on advertising trying to make the phone ring.
Yes.
And you're like, I got 3 calls last week on yard signs. Okay. Well, how many yard signs did you put out last week? We put out 6 yard signs. Okay, great. You know how you make 9? Now you get 9 calls next week on yard signs? How's that? put out 18 yard signs because you're getting 3 calls for every 6 yard signs. Replicate it.
Yes.
Okay, let's find the things that are working. Let's find the victories in our business and let's replicate them. Don't turn around and go, well, we got a few calls on yard signs, but this guy called me from Angie's List, and I think I'm going to start doing Angie's List advertising at $35 a lead, where they invite 5 of my biggest competitors in, and I only have a 30% closing ratio.
Absolutely. They're so slimy. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
You'll go on there even and I hate to say for Google ads too, you'll pay for an ad, but then when I click on your ad, they'll give me 3 other people that want my attention too. It's like,
Right.
really? They just paid for that ad. I just clicked on it. Now I got a click-through price that client is being charged, and then you're going to
Right.
show me 3 others too to choose from. Anyway, we won't go deeply into that. Okay. The fifth key, the final pattern, how does that create momentum for long stability?
So once you find out that there are replicatable things in your business, then you need to systemize them. Now
Okay.
you can systemize them through digital automation. And I'm sure you've already realized I go out on a tangent on digital
I
automation
do.
in my book. Okay. And I'm not
Yes.
a big fan of digital automation for a reason. I love digital automation, and we do a ton of it at Soft Wash Systems, even at Disruptor Manufacturing, my other companies. But I don't like it when people who are afraid of conflict, who are afraid of going out and knocking on doors and shaking hands and kissing babies and growing their business, will trap themselves inside of their homes and
Right.
screw around with their CRM, setting up automations and doing all this digital stuff and all, so they don't have to have physical contact with people.
Right. So they just go in, they put their head down, and they do their trade, and they're
You
just
play on my computer, type on the keys and everything else, and,
yeah.
and maybe the phone will ring. No, no, no. The phone rings when you go out and meet people. But when you create systems on things, they can be digital systems because there's a lot of great tools out there for that. You can create automations and strings and drip campaigns and all kinds of stuff for that stuff. Yes.
Yes.
But you can also automate things physically in the tangible world. There are systems you can put together in the tangible world. And so we've got little systems like whenever one of our salespeople goes out and does a quote, they're required to walk across the street and get a second quote. Now, did that take a computer to do that? No. Did that take any kind of special GPS tracking or AI or anything else? No. You just look at them and say, listen, when you walk across the street and you're doing a quote at Mrs. Smith's house, I want you to knock on the 4 or 5 doors across the street till you get one other person to let you do a quote. And then when you get one other person to do it, leave that neighborhood. And that's all I want you to do. And so we track it in a very physical way. When you go into one of our sales offices, we have literally chains hanging on the walls. We have a plastic placard with the salesperson's picture, their territory, their zip codes. We have 2 chains hanging underneath them. One chain is where the lead goes when a lead comes in. We put it in our digital CRM and we text it out to the sales rep, and then we print it too on a little printer, and we rip it off and we pin it up on the left-hand chain. On the right-hand chain, when the rep comes back in, they'll hang up the pink copy because we still use, even though we've got a digital CRM, we still use paper, and they're NCR carbonless forms like back from the 60s and all, but it's kind of fun and it's really easy to scale, and you don't have to give everybody a tablet in your company that they leave on top of their car and drive down the interstate and it falls off and wrecks, Ask me how I know that.
It sounds like experience, yes.
Experience. And you pull off the pink copy, and for every lead, you have to have a pink copy. But replication of effort is a Matthew 25 in the Bible principle.
Okay.
And when the master gave the talents to his servant and he went on the trip, the servant that got the well done, good and faithful servant is the one that brought a replication. So how my salespeople get the well done, good and faithful salesperson is when they not only hang up on their chain the pink copy alongside the lead, but they put a second pink copy. And so a 8 sales lead week turns into 16 quotes. And believe it or not, 16 quotes at a 50% closing ratio is better than 8 quotes at a 70% closing ratio.
Yeah. Yeah, the numbers add up, right?
And so that one little thing there, I didn't need a digital CRM, I didn't need AI, I didn't need any fancy computers or tablets or smartphones or apps or anything else to do that. I just created a small little system, and I tell all my salespeople, here's our system. For every lead that you get, do the quote for that lead and get me one replication lead. You're required to do that every week to qualify for the higher commission amount.
Oh, wow. And it's a visual too. That's great. They get to see something to
Yeah,
change,
yeah. I'm a
and
fisherman,
serve
so
them.
when I walk by the sales office and I look in there, I can look in there and see how long my stringers of fish are getting, and I know we're having a good week by how many fish are on the wall.
There you go. How many fish are on the hook? That's good.
Yeah,
So, if a builder or a contractor maybe listening today wanted to implement these keys starting tomorrow, and I recommend they do, what's
yeah.
the first step you'd recommend? Buying the book.
The easiest step is buy the book.
Buying the book.
And I mean, it's a $25 book on Amazon. It's also on Kindle. You can download it onto your Kindle or onto your device, or you can listen to the audio book. So you can get it all three ways. I like to get the books because I put them up on the bookshelf behind me at my office and things like
I
that.
do a
Unfortunately,
few.
I'm not at my office today, so but
Uh,
that's the easiest way to get it. But also, too, you can certainly keep an eye on our Facebook page. You can go to softwashsystems.com or to my personal Facebook page
uh-huh.
for myself, AC Lockyer. And just keep an eye out because I speak at a lot of different conventions and I'm available. I travel all over the world, worldwide, speaking at conventions and doing seminars and things like that. And you can come hear me at those things for sure.
Yeah, you're speaking actually next Friday, I believe. You're at in
I
Nashville.
am. I'm speaking in Nashville at the huge convention. Yeah. Want to hear something really cool though?
Yeah,
Okay.
of course.
So I got to
I thought that
remember
was
it.
pretty cool.
If you go to my Facebook page, you'll actually see, and you can. I think they may have some cabins still open, but they're doing a business retreat at sea. Another Ziegler certified person that's a coach is doing this, and it's a cruise ship. So it's a business workshop on a cruise ship. Can you imagine it?
Wow.
And I get to go on a week-long cruise to the Turks and Caicos for free because I'm speaking for an hour. Is that
Wow.
wonderful or what?
That's
So,
awesome. One little hour got you that whole
so
week's
1 hour of my
free.
time gets me a cruise. So I'm like, if anybody else is listening to this call and you guys are doing cruises and you need speakers for a cruise, I am totally in to going on cruises for 1 hour of speaking time.
Yeah,
But just think about that.
I
It's a
might be in on that
vacation.
myself. That sounds like a
Yeah,
good plan.
it's a
Uh,
good plan.
yeah, we could sponsor our own cruise and we could have everybody else doing the speaking and then we just enjoy the cruise.
Oh yeah, it was really cool. There's I think there's 15. Oh, it's myself and 14 other speakers that are going to be there, and so there's a schedule during the week, and so you listen to a couple speakers each day, and we make ourselves available at the lunches and stuff like that.
Great.
And it's a
Uh,
great way to pick a bunch of people's mind and go on a cruise.
Absolutely. How can we get more information about that cruise too? Is that on your
I am
website?
utterly unprepared, but if you do go to my Facebook page, you'll see that we advertise it quite frequently on
Okay.
the Facebook page. Just scroll through my feed and you'll see it. I think it's the Business Workshop at Sea, and you'll be able to check that out. But it's a cool, fun way to do it. Of course, we have the huge convention
Yeah.
coming up next Friday. I believe it's the
22nd.
24th,
Oh,
22nd.
22nd. Friday the 22nd.
Friday the 22nd. Yep.
Yes.
And we're coming up there. I'm going to be in Las Vegas Labor Day week at Tommy Mello's home service workshop that he does.
Oh, okay.
And so that's a big deal. I'm not speaking there, but if you see me, say hi. I love going to Tommy Mello's stuff. So you can jump on, check out Tommy Mello's home service workshop that he's doing there in Las Vegas the week of Labor Day week. And I got something going on about every 2 weeks, all the way through to that cruise the week before Thanksgiving, and then I'm
Uh-huh.
off for the rest of the year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You will have earned it. You will have learned it. Okay, so you talk about a little bit more about your book. You talk about these patterns and you do talk about not losing that personal touch.
Mhm.
How do these five patterns tie into scaling without losing that quality and personal touch?
Well, the biggest thing for me is you got to make sure you keep a balance between technology and being a human being. And that's very, very hard to do. And people nowadays, it's just so easy to sit on our devices, and we think we're
Yeah.
being social with people on our devices, and we are. We get to reach out to old friends that we never see, and it's wonderful. But when we call contractors, we just chat with them, we text with them, we fill out forms, and it's really impersonal.
Yeah.
With my company, Soft Wash Systems, I can tell you, Soft Wash Systems is next. It's about 2 months from now. We are starting franchising, so we won't be doing our licensing program anymore. We're moving to franchising, and so
Okay.
I've been watching some of my competitors and looking at them. And I was on a competitor's website, and they were bragging about the fact that they had a $500 average job for residential. And our average job for soft wash systems is $2,000 for
Yeah.
residential. And people are like, man, that's a huge difference, AC. How do you get that? We're servicing the exact same homes as they are.
Yeah.
We just show up and do a live estimate. We spend 45 minutes to an hour with every customer. Okay, with drive time and everything else, there's no way we can do more than 4 or 5 quotes per day maximum.
Right.
But we spend 45 minutes to an hour with every customer. We not only quote what they've asked for, but we look at everything else that needs done on their property. We make a
Yes.
personal connection with them, and we don't do things digitally.
Yeah, you make a personal
And
connection. Sorry, we had a little.
yeah, no, no, no. And that's the secret weapon out there. That's the secret sauce is that, yes, technology is great. Technology is certainly great. And it's really advanced us and it's given us more time back into our lives and everything else. But we lean way too much on technology. I'm not saying abandon technology. You can't.
Here, you
If you
can't.
ignore
Yeah.
technology, you're going to get ran over in this new economy. But if
Right.
you can mix the right amount of technology with the right amount of personal touch and establish relationships with your customers, people buy from whom they know, they like, and they trust. We get that from the Howard Partridge Phenomenal Coaching Organization. Zig
Absolutely.
used to say it. I'm sure you've said it. Okay.
Yes, it's
People
it's
buy
a
from whom they
fact.
know, like, and trust.
Right.
They can't know you, like you, or trust you chatting over a website.
Can't.
Okay. You've got
Never
to go
laying
out, you
eyes
got to
on
press the
you, they
flesh.
can't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to shake hands, kiss babies, do grassroots stuff. Got to go out and meet people. You got to make contacts. You got to network. You got to find people that can refer business to you. And the
Yeah.
only way you're going to do that is over a good meal, over a drink, over golf. Take somebody fishing. Take that morning that you're taking off and take a decision maker out. In my business, I've got a whole sales team that handles the sales and everything else for all of my businesses. But I
Right.
still get involved because when I sell stuff, when I go out and play golf with somebody or take them fishing or go on a 3-day weekend with somebody and spend some time with them, I close $1 million deals. I closed one last week. Okay.
Wow.
For this company, my manufacturing company, 150 trucks, $3 million deal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's what you got to do. But you only do it if you spend time with people because nobody's going to send you a $3 million deal if they don't know you, like you, and trust you.
Absolutely. I hear so many people when meet and talk with my people too. They have this, AI takeover fear. They really do. And I've told them, I said, it's exciting. I mean, it's the same as when they used to dig ditches, but then they no longer had to dig ditches.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is an exciting time. And all the more the more, AI takes over, the more and more they're going to want that connection. They're going to crave that
Right.
connection.
They're going to crave it.
Yes, they know they're going to realize that something's missing and they're going to go out and that's what they're going to be looking most for. And if they can supply that with their business and offer that with their business, that they will still out surpass all the rest.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
AI is wonderful. We're both in the latter stages of our life. We're the over 50 crowd, and everything else. So the younger people are like, they're just old people complaining about technology. They're just out of touch. No, 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 no. We love technology. Listen, we
Right.
love it. We love it. We just realize the power of relationship. And, AI has done some cool stuff, and we're getting customers now the way searches are done now. People don't anymore just go on their phone and say, for my roof cleaning company, roof cleaning near me, and type it in and ask Google. They go on and say, hey Claude, my profile, my personal preferences, the type of company that I like and the type of professionalism that I usually choose. Could you please give me 3 choices of a local roof cleaning company that has license and insurance and workers' comp and will perform to my expectations? And please go ahead and categorize them from the best to least on those 3 recommendations. And then it goes
Yeah.
along, and poof, it comes up soft wash systems.
Does all
And
the research and everything. Yes.
yeah, and I'm like, we're winning on that. Why? Because we have more content out on the internet than anybody else in the world, because we've been doing it for 34 years, and I was an early adopter. So it's wonderful for us. But then when they reach out to soft wash systems, we're going to go out, we're going to love up on their customer. And they're going to go, man, not only did Claude pick a great company for me, but man, when they showed up, I really liked them. And I have a
Right.
relationship with them. And now I'm going to tell all of my friends and family about them because I had an incredible experience.
Yes. I love
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, AC, thank you for sharing not just your
Yeah.
story today, but real frameworks for success that any builder, contractor, or entrepreneur can put right into action and practice. The 5 keys to pattern success isn't just a book, it's a playbook for building something that truly lasts. So,
Yes.
for everybody that is listening, I challenge you to pick one key you heard today. Grab this book, start applying it right now. And if you're ready to map out your own $1 million wall and put the systems into place and actually hit those milestones, start with a book. It's great. Then head over to D&D Business Systems. Let's build out those success patterns and systems you need to make it work.
You
This
know
is
why? Because the best athletes always have a coach, and they need a coach.
They do need a coach. Absolutely. I had several at one time, and I knew I needed to reel in my coaching and be more intent with the coaches that I had. But yes,
Yeah.
everybody needs a coach.
Yeah.
And everybody out there that's listening, remember this is more than just a podcast. This is your platform. Your story matters. Let's amplify your voice with purpose. And until next time, keep building with the edge.